I'm Gregory Gunderson, and this is Matthew Jones. We're in the Mayan lab, and we're going to present two tools today, Enricher and Geo2Enrichr. Both are under active development, and both place a role in a sort of a common bioinformatics data pipeline, which we'll show you. So here is that typical bioinformatics pipeline. On the left-hand side, you see expression profiling data. And that's from several like high throughput technologies like microarray or RNA-seq. And then if we want to, and typically it has two samples, so a normal gene sample, for example, and then maybe one that's been treated with a certain drug. And then if we want to actually know something about the effect of the drug, we might want to ask which genes have been regulated. And so you can perform differential expression analysis, and you get this ranked gene list. And then finally, you can take that list and you can perform gene set enrichment analysis. So you can take these gene sets, which represent prior biological knowledge, and you can score them against this gene list, seeing for genes that are in this gene set if they're at the top of that ranked gene list. So the two tools that we're developing, Geo2Enrichr and Enricher, fall along this pipeline. So I'm going to turn it over to Matthew, who's going to present Enricher first, and then I'll present next.
Okay. So Enricher is a web application that we developed in the Mayan lab that performs this enrichment analysis on gene sets. We developed it with user-friendliness as our main priority, and so we want it to be clear and easy to use. We've developed it so that you can have multiple views of the results, and you can share and save the results. So a quick overview of enrichment. What is gene set enrichment? One view is finding annotated gene sets which are similar to a given query gene set. It's similar to answering the question, what gene sets do we have knowledge about that might be related to our unknown or unannotated gene set? Or it's similar to a search engine. To evaluate the similarity, we use overlap of the sets. So the genes in common in the two different sets, the annotated set and your query set, see which genes are in common, and we evaluate the size of this overlap using Fisher's exact test. We also provide a correction to Fisher's exact test, where we've found that some genes are consistently ranked at the top regardless of what your query gene set, some gene sets are consistently ranked high regardless of the input query gene set. To correct for that, we pre-calculated the expected rank using random query gene sets of our database gene sets, and then calculate the deviation from this expected rank when we do our analysis. And so this we call the z-score. So since I've joined the Mayan lab, I've been working on Enricher, and the updates I've completed so far are accepting bed files as input, and so this works by first converting a bed file into a gene list, and then performing the enrichment analysis on this gene list. And you can view the constructed gene list in the results page if you're interested in that. I've added many new gene set libraries, along with updating some of the existing libraries. It required a redesign of the back end of the application to enable to support the growing size of the database. So the program won't slow down if we keep adding more gene set libraries. And so it should consistently run fast now. And also we added the legacy gene sets for the purpose of provenance. So some statistics. We have at the moment 66 gene set libraries, which are constituted of 52,000 gene sets, and some of our most popular or the most used libraries are listed here. And just today, actually, we hit 100,000 gene sets analyzed since Enricher first went online.
Can you see where it's coming from?
The
queries.
As in which country or?
Country or place?
Yeah, we have Google Analytics, which allows
nice.
us to see that. Yeah, I don't have any. I can't pull on any stats off the top of my head though. So I'm going to do a quick demo of Enricher. So here's the front page, is what you're presented with when you visit the website. And so you can see the address is amp.farm.mssm.edu/Enricher. So here we've got two modes of input. You've got the text box, which you can copy and paste gene lists into, and you can upload a file. And so the format of both are a gene per line. So it must be one gene per line. And then you have a description bar at the bottom if you wanted to write a quick description in the case that you are saving or sharing the gene list. So for this example, I'm just going to use this example gene list. And so here we can see it's copied and pasted into this text box. And we click down here to submit. So here's the results page. So these are our gene set libraries listed here. And they fall under these categories. So right now we're under the transcription category, and we can change categories by clicking on any of these. So if I wanted to see the results for the Chia gene set library, I click here, and that sends it off for analysis. Should come back. And then, so the default view is this bar graph, where it shows the top 10 terms or database gene sets, and where the length of the bar is by default combined score, and we can click on the graph and it will change the scoring to p-value, as in Fisher's exact test, and then again this is the z-score. We can view it as a table where we can view the exact values of each enrichment, and we can scroll through the whole list of terms. We can also download the entire result set in case you wanted to perform further analysis. We also have the canvas or grid view, and so here each tile is a gene set, one of our library gene sets, and its color indicates the level of enrichment, and so we can mouse over it to get the name of that tile. And so the tiles are organized in such a way that they're clustered together so that regions of this canvas have similar gene sets based on the overlap again. So up here we also have the network view, which takes the top 10 gene sets and creates a network of them by their intersimilarity. And we have some cool graphics. So up here we can view the gene list that we input. So this is how you would view the gene list produced by the bed file conversion. And we can also share the gene list by creating this link, which we then can send to our friends. And it says it will last 30 days, but that isn't true. It lasts forever. And I've yet to update that. Yeah. So here we've got the legacy libraries, and so these are, whenever we update an existing library, we put the old one here so that you can go and reproduce your old results. And I think to show yesterday, I updated 7 new libraries under this pathways. So you can go check that out if you use any of those. And I think that's all for me. Okay, so I'll pass it back to Greg, and he'll continue on with the Geo2Enrichr.
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Geo2Enrichr, which, if you remember, takes the expression data from Geo and it pipes it into Enricher. So it was designed to be interoperable with both of these tools. Geo is the gene expression omnibus, and it just is a repository for a lot of this gene expression data. And Enricher is what you just saw. It's a Google Chrome extension because it can't really live anywhere but Geo because it adds functionality into the Geo pages. So you install it and you browse Geo in Chrome, and it'll add functionality into the page dynamically. And then it has an application server which does the downloading, downloads to the application server, data processing. It'll normalize the data if it needs to be, and then also identifying differentially expressed genes and then returning that to you. So, as I said, Geo is the gene expression omnibus. It's run by the NCBI, and it's a repository for this expression data. Every data set is ascensioned. You can see here, it's probably pretty small, but GDS 5077. So this is a unique and constant identifier that you can use in publications if you ever want to go back. And every ascension number has a page. GSE pages look a little different than GDS pages, but essentially they're the same in terms of they give you the title, summary, you can see the organism, citation. But one thing is that there's not a whole lot to do on Geo except for access the data. I mean, that's what it's there for. But if you want to do some analysis, you have to probably download it to your local machine and write some scripts to do that. So what Geo2Enrichr does is it embeds a small button on the page. So you install the Chrome application for the extension, and then when you go to Geo, this button is available to you. And when you click on the button, it opens this modal box. So one thing to note is that all the data is screen scraped for you, so you don't have to do any input. The idea is that this tool just works very seamlessly, as seamless as possible with Geo. So it has all this information here, and then it also has some fields for optional annotation. So if you want to remember a little bit more about what you're interested in, you can do that. And also, just for what it's worth, this data is a little bit harder to text mine because sometimes there's no fields for them on Geo. So this way, if you want to remember, put it into the file name or something automatically to remember where the data came from, you can fill that out. And it also, over time, the theory is that it kind of builds a resource for people because a lot of this data on Geo will start having all of it with all the metadata sort of included over time. So that being said, I'm just going to demo the tool. So here first is the documentation page. So I'll have a link at the end. So you can see how to install it. You can read a small tutorial here if you're interested in sort of following that along. If you want to know what's happening to your data, you might. You can read here. It sort of tells you the different steps of what it's doing. And then finally, if you want to be really clever and query the back end of Geo2Enrichr programmatically, you could do that because there's an API. So you could have a lot of these tasks that are already automated for you. You could then use them yourself using that API. Because this is in active development, I should probably say if you want to use the API, just send me an email so I know you're out there and you're interested in using it, and I can work with you. But it's fully functional right now, and hopefully people can start using it. If you click here to install, it'll open up the Chrome web store. So you can see right now it has 257 users. I already have it installed, so this button says added to Chrome, but in your case it'll say plus free, means it's free, and you just click that and it installs. And we've had a number of students using it already, and some of them are confused because initially when you click that, like nothing happens. Chrome will give you like a little notification, but you don't see anything. And even if you go to Geo, so if you go to a Geo page, here's that GDS 5077, you don't see anything immediately. Because again, the idea is it just sort of embeds itself quite nicely into Geo, and it's not too intrusive. So if you click compare two sets of samples, this is where Geo's sort of native UI for selecting samples are. You have this additional button added. So let's click it. You click it, you'll notice there's no control and no treatment samples, and that's simply because we don't know what you're interested in. In this case, so for GDS 5077, there's only 2 of each, and I'll select them. But in some cases, there might be upwards like 20 or 30, depending, GSM files. So you can pick which ones you're interested in, and then when you do that, and then click Pipe into Enricher, you'll see that those fields have now been filled out. Because I'm screen scraping, I'm aware that I could have made a mistake. You can click on something and you can edit it if you'd like. And then to insert data, in this case, you can see it says transmembrane protein 88 depletion effect, et cetera, et cetera. You could add something like that if you wanted to. I'm not sure what the gene is in this case, but just to show you, there's some autocomplete as well for you. What? TM. All right. So then I'm going to click Get Gene List. Whenever you have demo software, it never works. Fingers crossed. So what it does is it first downloads the files to Geo2Enrichr's servers. So it's not downloading it to your computer, because these files can be upwards to like 20 gigabytes sometimes. It processes that, it cleans the data, it removes unnecessary lines. It identifies the differentially expressed genes, and then finally it pipes that to Enricher automatically for you. And so what you see here are 4 links, and these have already used Enricher's API to pipe that data in and create those stable links that Matthew had talked about. So if I were to click up, it opens up Enricher. You notice that there's 265 up genes that you can now view in Enricher. And then if you click download, it will then download your files. So here are the upregulated genes of interest. And so those are going to be on your computer. So I think that's everything here. So to review, it just adds functionality to Geo and automates a lot of these things. I'm a software developer, so if I do something twice, I think about automating it, and if I do something 3 times, I want to automate it. So hopefully this, if a lot of people are doing this around the research institutions, hopefully this will help simplify that process. And really the idea is to lower the barrier to entry for researchers so that, if they have less computational expertise or they just simply don't have the time. And then also really to allow them to come up with novel hypotheses more quickly by making this seamless. So it's been online for about 10 days. So get in while it's not cool yet. 260 installs, about 175 gene lists have been extracted, and then there's the link if you're interested in using it. So, which I hope you are, and definitely send me plenty of feedback if you do complain when things don't work. And then just thanks to everyone in the Mayan lab for both of these, and then some visiting students who also helped on this stuff. So, questions?